episode of Theatrical Dumpster. Yes, I said it right. This is going to be the last episode of Theatrical Dumpster. Because I have other plans now. And it will be replaced with Angel videos! Because she needs to have all her adventures documented for the internet. Everyone loves animal videos, especially one of cute gray puppies. Alright? Now you're probably wondering why I skipped over the August episode. And well, to tell you the truth, the Emoji Movie would have just stolen the show. And the entire episode would be dedicated on that. And judging by the fact that that's so bad, that's actually the first animated movie to ever win Worst Pictures at the Razzies, that's saying a lot. So the further I stay away from it, the better. Because it should not fucking exist.
I mean, seriously, anyone with a working brain didn't like this movie and thought it was a bad idea. As you can see, movies that follow the zeitgeist formula automatically tend to suck. The reason? One, it's just pandering instead of just creating an original story and good art direction. And two, it's obviously rushed because if they actually took the time to improve on quality and stuff like that and go through several rewrites, all the trends would essentially be outdated by this point. In fact, the director even bragged about it being very quickly done. And judging by its $50 million budget, you can obviously see that the majority of it went into the advertising, judging by how pervasive it was prior to its release. I mean, I first saw this in the previews of the movie theater seeing another far better movie, and I immediately thought it was actually part of the concession stand advertising. It's like, no, this can't be a real movie, and yet it was. I have a feeling that CGI animation and 3D animated films are basically being exploited by Hollywood because, of course, it's far more cheaper to produce than traditionally 2D animated films. And thus you actually come out with a bunch of hastily cobbled together junk by a bunch of talentless studios and directors who are exploiting a bunch of artists and writers' talent for their own greed. Sounds familiar from a certain PC gaming platform. But anyway, I'll get back to the crux of the issue of this episode, which is the theatrical dump month of January and February of this year. Now, first up on the naughty list is Samson. Based on the biblical story of Samson and Delilah, I really had high hopes for this one, but seeing that it was released just a few months ago, it turns out to be extremely boring, doesn't really follow the story very well, terrible pacing, but at a much slower rate than The Mummy, of course. The one with Tom Cruise, not the cult classic Brendan Fraser movies. Yeah, now we have another movie that shouldn't even see the light of day at all, and that is the thankfully last 50 Shades movie, called 50 Shades Freed. I mean, what's next after the marriage between Christian Grey and Anastasia Steele? Well, it's basically a road trip comedy with a bunch of BDSM jokes that take little effort. Speaking of little effort, I'd like to get back to CG animation and why it's being exploited. It's even going as far to point as implementing cartoon sentient animals into live-action movies. See Peter Rabbit for a prime example. I mean, of course, it actually has a bunch of the overused jokes found in 3D animated family films. But again, just the way 2D animation was going in the late 90s and early 2000s, I have a feeling that it could be having a resurgence sometime in the near future, as both 2D and 3D would basically be balanced out for quality. But sadly, that's not the world we live in because Hollywood giants and corporate charlatans really want to cash in on whatever is popular in focus groups rather than what makes a good movie good and loved, and they're doing it as cheaply as possible to meet their bottom line, while paying all their actors, artists, and writers dirt poor money until they could find audition for more decent work, might I add.
There are new dumping grounds for terrible movies in theaters that are coming and going. And many actors are forced to take on these roles that are nightmares. They destroy marriages, lives, careers, etc. And which is why when I was learning to make animated films in college, I wanted to stay far away from Hollywood as possible because Hollywood is corrupt. And now I'm a movie critic on YouTube who can poke fun at them and rant about them all I want for consumer awareness. Because I found my niche here, and so should you when you got the opportunity. This is Nama, signing off.